In this video, I'd like to go through and change out the motherboard on this F06 Yuxiang helicopter to an E150 or an F150 motherboard. This board is basically a lot more acrobatic, and it's made for it doesn't have the limitations that this stock version has. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we'll start by taking off the blades. Again, mark the blades. Make sure that you know where they're coming out from. Not that it makes a big difference, because these small blades don't have that much imbalance, but it's still better to know how you took it apart. Sometimes on helicopters, vibrations come from unknown places, and then you end up chasing it, and I've marked it before, that's why I'm just taking it off. I've put numbers on each blade and each grip. Okay, next we're gonna open up these screws. This is also a good tutorial for opening up the fuselage on these F06 helicopters. Although I must say most Yuxiang helicopters have the same basic philosophy. Just opening up two halves of a shell with a bunch of screws. Okay, this is the landing gear screws. Okay, this we can just press fit and take it out. Okay, now here comes the interesting part. Which side to take off? Maybe you gotta take both sides. On the F07 or F08, I'm sorry, the canopy comes off, so you have access to your board. On this one, you have to take the whole thing apart, which is kind of a pain. And remember the screw sizes. Typically the ones at the bottom are longer than the ones on the top of the fuse. These videos can get long, I know, but you can always fast forward. It won't hurt my feelings. These are all the smaller pieces. I gotta make sure that I get them all. These are difficult sometimes. Guess I've taken them out already. Either they're out or they're missing from the last time I put this helicopter shell together, which was after a crash. One reason I'm changing out this control board is because the stock version here is very docile and the helicopter is fast. So when it speeds up, just like I explained in the previous video, when it speeds up, it has a momentum that's very hard to control. This board was sold for a while as an accessory for this helicopter to fix this issue, and I know it hasn't been available for a while, and I'm hoping that this is the right board, because one time I bought one and it wasn't. Hopefully this guy is, and we won't end up having to get back into what this, I put it back together again. But regardless, I'm going to make sure I retain all the original components so that in case it's the wrong board, we can put it back together. I'll do it outside of this video, don't worry. So many screws on this. So I'm just opening all these screws. Okay. Gosh, it's gonna be hard. Mm-hmm. Gotta take out these motor screws off too. Also be careful, again, these small screws do go into the motors. These motors are magnetic, obviously they have magnets inside, and these small screws can easily go in and stay in. And if you don't know there's a screw in there, you'll have a short. This has to just open right up, but I think these screws are all still in there. Should just open up. There you go. Very painful process. Just pull it apart slowly. Okay. And then there's another screw here that's I'm not seeing. Okay, so here we go, and this is the motor, just like the F08. This is the motor. So put this aside. I'm probably gonna have to go through the screws later and make sure that we know what is what. I'm gonna put them on this side. I might change the fuse as well, get a new fuse, a red one. Okay, let me open this side too. Let me just do that and come back instead of wasting time. Okay, I took this other side off too, just the screws. So what I wanted to show you is that I'm going to take out the connections for the optical flow sensor and the LEDs. I have the LED connection here. Just cut it off, cut the Again, this helicopter was opened before, so because of a crash. I'm just going to take out these. These are the LEDs, these two on this side, and this is the light for the mode light. Okay, LEDs. Okay, instead of wasting time and just taking out screws, I went ahead and took out the screws and removed the mechanics, as you see here. And I numbered the servos as 1, 2, and 3. And I numbered it right here. You can see that's number 3. This is number 2, and this is number 1. So let's open the box here. Because what we're going to do is replace the board with the new board. And I'm going to have to bind this to another radio because the stock radio will no longer be used. This will be flown like the F-150, which I've noticed they don't have on their website anymore. Yuxiang no longer has that. I'm wondering if they're out of stock or they're done supporting it or selling it. Okay, so this comes out, and this is basically, okay, it's connected on the ESC. That is the power distribution board. You have your motor wires coming in here, and then that's the power supply, the battery connection, and that's the tail motor connection. And this is the board itself. So this is what we're going to remove and replace with this. Okay. There's no antenna on this. I'm assuming we have to just reuse the antenna. I don't know how this is going to work. It's the same. Looks like it's the same. It should fit right on top. But what about the antenna? I may not need it, I guess. Let me just open this. There are 3 screws here. 1, 2, 2 screws. Okay. And I'm supposing it's going to go this way. And this is the bind button here. This little button here is the bind button. Doesn't seem like we need any screws on this one. So let me just see if it just fits right over this board. Kept the tapes in. Do I need 2 tapes? Maybe not. Take 1 tape. It should just connect right into this here. That's one side. And do the other side too. I really should be wearing my gloves. Okay. Try to just fit it on here. Okay, that's good. It's cushiony, as it should be. Put this on. And let's put the screws back on. Hopefully, then I'm going to try to connect it, power it up, and bind it to another radio. So this will no longer have optical flow. It'll no longer have a signal telling me what is going on with respect to the status. But it will have an LED in the nose. You can keep that up, I think. I just want to first get it to work, and then we worry about the details later. I'm going to have to assume that it's the same. Oh, I need to look at my 150 to see what servo is connected where. Okay, here's my 150 helicopter. We're going to see where the servos are connected. This is the tail motor, and this is 1, 2, 3. So it's servos are the first three, 1, 2, and 3. And then this one is an S bus, and then it's a DSMX. So I'm just going to take number 1 and put it in the first slot. We're guessing here. May or may not work. Hopefully it'll work. It makes sense. 1, 2, and 3. So we get the servos in here. Sequence is the same as before. And then the tail motor goes in here, and nothing else. So let me bind. So what happens is optical flow sensor goes away. These screws we don't need anymore. We just put them aside. This is your original board for the F06. Puts aside. Optical flow sensor put aside. This we don't need this light either. Goes away. Status light. We will keep the tail and front lights, but I need to see where I'm gonna power it from. So this light goes away too. It's a tail light and the front light. We need to power it up somewhere. So I'm gonna put this back. Let's just get the... I'm going to take off the blade here because I want to do a test run on the unit with the tail motor connected. And remember the direction this is in. Okay, it's facing, blade is facing this way. And I'm just going to mark, this is the top. Take it out, put it here. Okay, now we're going to connect this to the board. All right, I'm going to get a battery and try to bind it. Okay, so I have my E6 radio, or the T6 radio. I'm just going to bind it. This is an FHSS. I don't have a Futaba radio, and I'm not going to use my Spectrum. I just want to use this stock radio and bind it to this. Okay. Just press this button. There's a button on this side. As I turn this on, it's binding and it's bound. You press that button and you hold it. Let's see. Nothing happening. Let me try again. Turn it off. Okay. This bind button on this side, the way I recall is you have to hold that in. I might have to go and check the instructions again. But turn that off, turn the radio off. Okay. Hold it. Turn it on. Okay, now I turn the radio on and hold that on in at the same time. Should be binding. Okay, I heard it bind this time. Okay. Something's happening. There you go. Okay, it bound. So you have to hold that button in and I have to check the curves and everything on this. We have to check the settings. Okay, let's see the curves. Okay, reverse, dual rate, expo, throttle curve. 1 is 0, 2 is 80. 80, 80, 80. Okay, we'll have to mess with these curves later, but I just wanted to get it to run first, okay? So that's a good thing that it's running. The rest is all set up. I'll put it back together, put the halves together, and then we'll see. Now, one of the drawbacks, it could be that the board that I have is for a 3S. If it's for a 3S, because this helicopter originally was a 3S helicopter, meaning 11 volts. This board is for 7.4 volts, 2S. So it may not be the right board. I don't know. We'll find out. But this is how you would replace it anyways. Okay, the next thing we have to do is level the swash plate with the new board. There's a procedure that Yuxiang has prepared a video for their helicopters that I'm going to go through. You will have to turn on the transmitter And as you know, I just bound it. So let me just move these. I bound the radio to the helicopter, the new board. And now what I need to do is make sure that all the servos are, the swash plate should be level. So hopefully it's going to be, and we won't have much adjustment, but there's a procedure that I'm going to go through. So you turn on the radio and turn on the helicopter. Okay. What I did, I did put a tape here so that this connects properly. Because it seems like if it's not pushed all the way in, it keeps turning off. See, you can see that. I gotta just make sure it doesn't turn off. It seems like it's turning off. See that? Okay. I gotta tape it. See, it keeps turning off. I thought I fixed it, but it didn't. See if I can push it. Oh. It's not going to be. Let me come back. So we're going to press this bind button 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It's now in servo swash plate level mode. And I'm going to level the swash plate as best as I can. And you can see that it's not really that level. So if you use the aileron, the rudder, you can see that servo is going down and up. Hopefully you can see that this guy here. I'm using the rudder. Bring it down and up. I'm trying to just level them to zero here on this side, and as best I can, all of them should be zeroed. Without a pitch curve, this is probably the easiest way of doing it, making sure that these blades are level and the swash plate is level. And right now it is not level. No way. Bring it down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera and come back. But I'm going to play with the servos. Basically, you know, as you know, the rudder stick adjusts the front left servo. Okay, once you go into this mode. The aileron stick adjusts the right servo. As you can see, if I move it, it goes up and down. And the elevator adjusts the elevator servo. I'm going to play around with all this and come back and have a level swash plate. Okay, I took the bolts out off camera and basically put the body back into this side and put some of the bolts screws back here. What I wanted to show you is that I did go ahead and use some epoxy and coated with a brush the insides of here. This model is known to have a very weak area here, and I just wanted to reinforce it a little bit. Okay. Next, I just took out the LEDs for now because they're going to burn up if I connect it to here. I'm not sure if these LEDs are for that voltage or not. So I'm going to wait and see how it flies. And then if it flies nicely, I'll go ahead and add all the bells and whistles back. So right now there's no LEDs. Took out all the lights and just connecting it right now. So what I was going to show you here is I'm going to use a zip tie here to make sure these wires are out of the way of the motor. Connect them all, and then we'll tape it down on the other side. Don't want these wires to be getting jammed up. Okay, so now I'm going to keep the wires below, sorry, here. Try to get this thing back into, just reconnect everything. But before I do that, I think I should tape these wires down because they are kind of floating around, and I'm going to tape them down right here. Okay, got some tape. I'm going to tape them here, right here. And there. Okay, now let's try to do this. This takes patience. Line the points up. Maybe it's best to do it from the back. There. Just work it up easy. If it doesn't go in, it's because maybe inside one of these guides aren't in. Just go ahead and, okay, now that I got this, I'm going to go ahead and put the screws on off camera. Not to waste your time. Okay, I put it all together, and as long as you remember which screw goes where, you shouldn't have any issues. The most frustrating part is just putting the halves together and fitting it in the slots. So the battery fits in properly now and gets secure. I'm gonna turn it on. And the radio is on now. Radio is on. You can see it. Right now it's got the stock, just basic curves. And you could see that when I do a roll, it rolls to the right, left, right, left. As you can see, right, left. If I put on throttle hold, nothing happens. Forward elevator works as it should. You can look at the swash plate, but you could see it from the top. Forward elevator is forward, back, aileron right, left. And if I put throttle, if I go this way, it works, which makes sense. I'm going to put the blade on, I'll put the throttle cut on, I'll put the blade on. This way we're going to see if the rotation works the right way. And I marked the blade, so I know it's the right way. It should be intuitive, but you should always mark it the way you take it off, so you don't have a problem. Now, on. See, when I turn it this way, it's pushing me. When I turn the blade this way, it doesn't want to go. So it's the right way. Okay, so we're halfway there. I just need to do the curves and come back. Okay, I went ahead and programmed a throttle curve and a pitch curve based on the stock 150, and I increased my decreased the dew rates significantly. I can't really measure the pitch curve here, but we're going to go ahead and try to see how much pitch we have based on these inputs that I put in there. So I mean, I'm eyeballing it really. It seems to be in the range. It's not excessive. So if I put a blade, I'll put the throttle cut on. If I put a blade here, and blade leading edge should always be on the link side. So I put a blade there. Doesn't seem to be that bad. So we can give it a try using this, and hopefully we'll live to talk about it. I'll put the blades back on and we can give it a try. Okay, so I've put the helicopter back together. We leveled the swash plate servos. Now the next thing we want to do is calibrate the gyro and do our first hover. I went ahead and put a preliminary curve in here and set points. So as first things first, the dual rate for ailerons I have 70, for elevator 60 each way, and for rudder 80. For expo I have 10% for aileron roll, 10% for elevator, and 5% for rudder. Moving on to the next. Throttle curve. 0 is the first. 70, 70, 70, and 70. So 0 and then a flat curve of 70. For the pitch curve, I have 37, 55, 68, 78, hopefully you can see this, and 88. The battery is kind of low. The gyro on 6G is 75, and 3D is 25. And again, this is all going to be changed as I tune this helicopter. So we're gonna just try to hover it like this. Okay, turning on the helicopter. Radio was on already. So the first thing we want to do is do the bring this the elevator down and hold it until you see okay, now we're going to hover and keep it there. I'm going to land it now and accept this. Accept this. Now we're going to take it down again. Press this down again. And it has accepted it. Okay, so let's do it again. Seems like it's okay. Not bad. Much more responsive. Much more responsive than it was before. The other one never dreamed of this. Needs some tuning, but it looks like it's doing well. All right, I'll land it now before I crash it. Yeah, that sound, I need to tune the curves. I'm happy with it right now. Next, I'm going to try to see if I can change the tail motor to a fenestron at some point and put some lights. Windy conditions. Test flight this now outside. This is with a new board. On 6G. It's quite windy outside. See how we do. It's a lot more aerodynamic and not aerodynamic, a lot more maneuverable than before. This wind is amazing. You can see the wind. I left the tail rotor the same because, woo, there's gusts of, oh my God, look at this wind, guys. Oh my gosh, gotta land this thing. It's almost hurricane level winds for this helicopter. See the trees going, but she's standing by and doing okay. This thing is doing well in this wind, guys. I mean, seriously, you can see the wind, you can see the tree. So I'm very happy with this mod. I don't think I'm going to change the tail rotor. It's more work than worth it. My C190 has whoa, 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 whoa. It's doing great in this wind, let me tell you. I'm just gonna let it sit, see how stable it is. It's moving, wind is taking it away. It doesn't have an optical sensor anymore, just 6G. All right, let me try to control it nicely. Have some nice scale flight here. Very maneuverable. I'll put the lights back on with the resistor, but that's about it. I don't think it needs any more. For what it is, this is good. I'm probably going to change my other one, my Eachine one, the red and white one, to this board as well. It's just much better. Windy. Okay, I'm gonna land now. Bring it back here. Very windy.